Welcome to the Women in Research episode of Perspectives. If you're not familiar with WIRE, our global community of over 7,000 women and over 1,000 male advocates are on a mission to advance the contributions and voice of women in this industry. Study after study has shown the positive impact of diversity on corporate performance and innovation. And although I typically shy away from only highlighting female perspectives, today, March 8th, we're going to do just that in honor of International Women's Day. If you're struggling as a company or a manager to understand how to effectively move the needle on diversity and support the advancement of women in the workplace, look no further. Today, women around the world, from Tokyo to Dubai, Sydney, Amsterdam, Paris, Los Angeles, are going to offer their thoughts on steps you can take to make 2018 the year we stop dreaming about diversity and we start actually doing. So enjoy.
I don't like the idea of setting rules and quotas, and it's not about doing that. It's about having the best person for the role, but it's ensuring that when you're considering candidates for executive roles, you do have a diverse range of candidates, and women are absolutely need to be at that table and considered, and which is not always the case. The second thing I would say is listen to the women within your organisation, listen to their needs. Their coaching and their mentoring needs are often very different from men. Women often need the encouragement and the confidence to actually put themselves out there and to apply for more senior roles and to apply for more senior positions.
I think the one most important step that companies or managers can take to support the advancement of women in the workplace is to treat them equally.
It's really about an ability for an organisation to think about how do you create those strategies to bring diversity of thinking in, whether that be gender, sexuality, race, etc., religion. So that, for me, is one strategy that an organisation really needs to work on, and we can ensure that women rise to the top.
Getting more heads around the table to reduce the amount of unconscious bias that happens. In this way, more people have a say in the decision-making process. It needs to happen at the point they enter an organisation, but importantly, as an organisation moves forward with the individuals they've selected, giving women that opportunity to step up to different tasks and the support structures they need to take on new challenges is going to be increasingly important to see them have the skills and the experience to step further into senior management in businesses.
So let's say you work on the corporate side and it's a large company. I would recommend getting together with other people who share your views and bonding together, creating a pact. My experience shows that in large companies, to create change requires a lot of effort and a ton of change makers working together. And by the way, this group should also include men, because this is a global issue. And if you happen to be on the agency side or a smaller company, I would recommend taking your bold vision to the top.
The core belief system at the top trickles down throughout the organization. We must have upper level managers who are thinking about the issues of diversity and inclusion in the workplace and are implementing processes for hiring, promotions, training, etc., with those core beliefs of equality in mind.
Hello, wearing pink by accident, but maybe entirely appropriate as it is International Women's Day. Great day for this question. So what I think that companies can do, etc., is to have more women in roles and have more women visible in an organisation. So if you don't have women as directors and managing directors and divisional directors in your organisation, find the talent, nurture it, support it, train it, and make those women your senior people. Because I really strongly believe in the mantra, you cannot be what you cannot see. So if you don't have those women in those positions, go and get them.
My 2 cents on how to make this work is to build it in the same way that you build anything into your processes, like spelling checking of documents, proofreading of documents. I think checking out the diversity profiles of your staff and of your executive leader team should be built in. It should be something that is a function that has a box that needs to be ticked, whereby if that box is not ticked, action is taken. And that those items are reviewed regularly. So it's because, it's not just about promoting women. It's about promoting diversity and getting all of us kind of an equal voice and an equal chance to have a spot at the table.
Metrics. This is the single most important thing that you can do for your business in order to advance women. And the reason I'm saying this is that if you have metrics, you can get insight from those. And from that, action will be taken. So the kind of metrics I'm thinking about are obviously the percentage of women on the board or senior managers. Also, it could be from a diverse supplier perspective. And this is something I would particularly push. Do you know how much of your costs is going to diverse suppliers, and in particular to certified women-owned businesses? Because these businesses are most likely to support women in the workplace.
On the supplier side of market research, one of the biggest challenges I've noticed is that women don't want to advance because they see the workload and the hours and the inflexibility of the schedule being incompatible with their lives. So what we've been doing at our company, and what I suggest every company on the supplier side do, is build in flexibility into the schedule. Allow them to set their hours.
If they show the promise, if they do the hard work, our job is to clear the path and let them shine. That's truly what I believe we can do for women. And if we continue to do that as leaders and managers, we will see more women in senior level positions supporting that trend and supporting other women as they make their path going forward.
Well, historically speaking, qualitative research has always been a fairly female-dominated side of market research. So I don't think that we've suffered from some of the things that you see in the more math or tech-oriented market research companies or businesses. So within my own company, of course, we're a female-owned company, and most of our employees are women, so we don't struggle with this as an issue. But I have personally worked for companies that were where my team or the company itself was led by men, and we often found ourselves coming up with ideas or coming up with solutions that were ignored until the man in charge regurgitated them as their own ideas.
In order to support advancement of women in the workplace is to truly value diversity. So diversity of experience, diversity in thinking, and diversity of career pathways. This will create a pipeline of really good people to pick and choose from in senior management teams, and allow you to look around and ensure that there is that 50-50 representation of men and women at management level and above. It's also important to have that awareness on an individual level of what our biases are in terms of migrating towards safe, similar people to ourselves.
The most important step is attitude change. Now, you may think I'm going to talk about lack of flexibility in the workplace and women being overlooked. I'm not. It's often said that a man will apply for a job if he reckons he can do most of the role requirements, whereas a woman will only do so if she thinks she can do it all. Is that fact or folklore? Whatever the case, the important thing is that if women hold themselves back through a lack of self-belief or a fear of failure or a fear of taking risks, it is women themselves who need to change. Change is hard. It's a cultural shift.
So if younger women in organisations don't see women in positions of leadership or positions of power, I would question how likely they are to be motivated to seek opportunities that would get them into those positions as well, and really believe that they can do that for themselves too. So I appreciate this is a big challenge for a lot of organisations currently, especially when particularly the leadership roles are often occupied by males, but I think companies can do more by bringing in external female mentors, putting people in touch with real sort of motivators in this area, and perhaps making texts available. Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In is a great example, or even perhaps putting people in touch with a wider network beyond this industry.
I mean, encouraging flexibility in terms of working hours and where the work gets done. At Hook, we have a number of working mums, and I think it's really important they're given that flexibility and treated like grown-ups. So as long as the work gets done, it shouldn't really matter whether that's in their own homes, in the office, or at times to suit them. I think we need to move away from office traditional working hours that don't suit people's lives anymore and embrace the flexibility that a more connected world offers us.
When my children were little, I had the flexibility to work in the office most days, and then actually when it was time to pick the children up from school, to pick them up and then carry on working from home on my laptop. So that was a really great way for me to keep advancing my career, but having the flexibility to also pick the children from school, which for lots of mothers is really important, and for the children's development too, because we're ensuring their future as well and making them feel part of the family.
It's very difficult for women coming into an organisation or an industry, particularly one like technology, which is still quite male dominated, if they don't see examples of senior women around the table in that organisation. So making sure that women are well represented at board level, VP level, senior management positions, and that those senior women are proactively advocating for, sponsoring, mentoring more junior women within that organisation. I also think flexibility is absolutely key. So recognising that, a very rigid 9 till 5 office-based role can be problematic, giving people the opportunity to work flexibly, possibly home working non-core hours, and letting that be something that is advocated for from a senior level in the organisation. So I think for more junior female employees, seeing senior women taking advantage of that flexibility is really important, and it's so important that the business genuinely is behind those policies, that it supports it for all members of staff, and that gives people that flexibility to balance their professional commitments with their personal commitments and ultimately to excel in both with the business's support.